Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the United States National Anthem. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Dick Cheney, Secretary of Defense.
Good afternoon. I can't think of a more beautiful day for doing the very important work that's before us this afternoon, and that, of course, is to welcome General Colin Powell as the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I have the strong impression that Secretaries of Defense get to preside over these ceremonies only once during their career, and I can't think of a better individual to share it with today than with the man that we honor here and swearing him in as Secretary. I especially want to welcome his lovely wife Alma and their family back to the Pentagon, where they've spent many years in the past. These are important and interesting and challenging times for the United States. If you think about the phenomenal change that may be underway in the world, the enormous opportunities that may exist for us to remake the international situation in a far more peaceful image than has been true for the last 40 years, you have to be impressed with the task that's before us. But I can't think of a better man to undertake those assignments as the nation's senior military officer than General Colin Powell. I first met Colin when he was commander of 5th Corps in Germany. I've known him by reputation over the years through good friends like Frank Carlucci, and I had the opportunity to serve very closely with him when he served in the White House as first the deputy and then the National Security Advisor to President Reagan. These days, when we are faced with difficult choices in terms of our budget priorities, when we have to meet an ever more complex international situation with shrinking defense dollars, it's enormously important that we have the best possible military advice that it's possible to provide, not only for myself, but for the President of the United States. Colin's job includes not only his role as the senior military officer and as the military advisor to the President and myself, but he also obviously is a symbol for all the military, all the men and women in uniform, of how enormously important we believe their role is in keeping our nation strong and free and secure. And in that capacity, I know he'll provide the same kind of inspired leadership to the nation's uniformed services that Bill Crow did. Over the course of the next 4 years, I know I'll spend more time with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff than I probably will with my family. And I can't think of anyone that I would rather share the burdens and duties and responsibilities of this office with than General Colin Powell. Ladies and gentlemen, the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Powell.
Secretary Cheney, Secretary Atwood, service secretaries, members of Congress present, members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow servicemen and servicewomen of the Armed Forces of the United States. Let me first express my thanks to the Joint Service Color Guard and Honor Guard, as well as the band, for the magnificent display that they present to you today. They are always an inspiring sight. And Mr. Secretary, let me thank you for your very, very kind remarks. Let me also take this opportunity to thank you and to thank President Bush for the confidence you have placed in me to serve as Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I pledge to you, pledge to the President, that I will serve with all of my energy and to the best of my ability. There are so many other people that I have to thank for this day and for the contribution that they made to this day. First, my leaders and mentors over the years, many of whom are here today and who I now thank once again. Friends of long duration who were always there when I needed them, always there to provide support. I've got to thank the great soldiers of the American Army with whom I've served for over 31 years of military service. I have to thank a great extended family, a family, immigrant family, who worked hard all their life to see their children get ahead. And the pride that I feel today, I know, is shared by the members of my extended family who are here today. And finally, of course, a special word of thanks to my beloved wife and my children, without whose sacrifice this would not have been possible. And one more, finally, to my parents long gone, who I know are sharing in the pride of the day. Admiral Bill Crow and I have in common the love of a good story. And one of the stories he and I have both told over the years has to do with the painting that's in the Pentagon between the 3rd and 4th floor as you go up the river entrance. It's a painting of a church, the inside of a church, on a bright sunlit morning. And in the painting, the church is empty with the exception of a family praying at the altar rail. The family consists of a mother, a young son, a young daughter, and a father in uniform. And the painting gives you the impression that they are praying silently one last time as the father goes off to war. As you look at this family with the sun streaming over the shoulder of the father, you sense that they are proud of their father and husband about to go off to war, but you also know that they are praying for his safe return. And every time I walk up those steps and every time I see that painting, a silent prayer comes to mind for all those who serve this nation in time of danger. And beneath the painting is an inscription from the prophet Isaiah. And the words read, "And the Lord God asked, whom shall I send? Who will go for us?" And the reply came back, "Here am I, send me." In the midst of the hustle and bustle of the Pentagon, the simple words of the prophet Isaiah serve as a constant reminder of the pledge made by each of our young soldiers and sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen. Here am I, send me. We ask of them duty to country and sacrifice, and we receive in return peace, freedom, and security. In answer to the prophet's question, we send forth to serve their nation men and women like those standing before us today. We send forth soldiers who, when they are needed, they'll be there. Sailors who go down to the sea in ships to sail in harm's way. Airmen who risk the wild blue yonder. Marines who live by the simple and timeless creed of Semper Fidelis, always faithful. And Coast Guardsmen who also live by a similar creed, Semper Paratus, always prepared. We send them because their pledge to us is an eternal, unchanging answer to the prophet's question, whom shall I send? Their answer has always been, here am I, send me. And the symbolism of that painting and the symbolism of the honor guard you see before you today is repeated around the world as Americans stand guard for America. I am honored, proud, and humbled to be given the responsibility to serve as the principal military advisor to our national leaders on the welfare, readiness, direction, and employment of the great young men and women who are serving in our armed forces today. I'm also very mindful, as the Secretary noted, that the period we are entering may well be the most historic period in the post-war era. It will be a time of hope. It will be a time of challenge. It will be a time of opportunity, time of anxiety, of instability, of uncertainty, and yes, it will also continue to be a time of risk and a time of some danger. But we are not afraid of the future. We enter this era secure in knowing who we are and what we stand for. Our values are intact. Our system is robust. Our people are confident. Our alliances are strong. And our nation is secure and strong by any measure. We look to the future with confidence. We know that the future is ours to shape. President Bush and Secretary Cheney have set the proper course to take advantage of every opportunity while exercising prudence and exercising caution. But no matter what happens in the world, no matter what wrenching and historic changes rip apart or reaffirm old ideas, we know that the role of our armed forces will remain the same: to be ready to serve as the rock upon which our policies will be built, to serve the nation. We will continue to need in this new world armed forces that are trained, armed forces that are ready, armed forces that continue to be proud of their service to the nation. No matter what happens, we must never give our friends or our adversaries any cause to doubt our resolve or any cause to doubt our willingness to bear the burden of our collective defense. Our task will be complicated by the changing world environment and by the desire to spend less money on defense. That's reality, and we must deal with reality as we make judgments about the shape of our armed forces in the years to come. So I look forward to working with my fellow chiefs and the unified and specified commanders to provide the very best advice we can to the President and to the Secretary of Defense to help them shape our future. The constant must be to ensure that our armed forces always remain good, that they always have what is needed to accomplish their mission, that they are never asked to respond to the call of an uncertain trumpet. We owe them and the nation and the world no less than that. Mr. Secretary, I look forward to the challenge. I promise you my very, very best. I know that we will be successful in meeting the challenges of the future. And if we are successful, peace and freedom will continue to flourish throughout this land and will continue its spread to the far corners of the earth. And the men and women of our armed forces will pay only the price of eternal readiness and not the tragic and precious price of life. Thank you all for being here with me and sharing this day with my family, and God bless America. Thank you.